Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Laura Train Mama. Today we are going to be reading my personal favourite in the Thomas stories. So this one is called Thomas and the Dinosaurs. Over on the left you can see lots of different Thomas engines and vehicles. Can you name them all? At the beginning of the book is just a look at the island of Sodor. Thomas and the Dinosaurs. This is a story about Thomas the Tank Engine and the time he came face to face with a dinosaur. Thomas the Tank Engine liked to boast that he wasn't scared of anything. "Nothing scares me," he peeped to his coaches Annie and Clarabelle. They just smiled. They were used to Thomas showing off. James was taking some passengers to the docks. "Peep, peep," tooted Thomas as he sped past. "Made you jump," laughed Thomas as he disappeared into the distance. James was not pleased. But Thomas was having too much fun. "I'm going to give Percy a scare," he laughed to himself when he saw Percy resting in the sheds. "Peep, peep." Percy was jolted wide awake. He was not pleased. That evening, the Fat Controller had an important job for Thomas. He needed him to work through the night, delivering supplies to the workmen. The sun had set and, as the stars came out, the shadows darkened. Thomas had never been out so late before, and he'd never seen Sodor looking so dark before. As he arrived at the docks, he saw a huge shadow of Cranky the Crane looming over him. It gave him quite a fright, but then he saw something even more terrifying. Out at sea, a horned creature seemed to be attacking a ship. Thomas didn't wait to see what happened next. "Help, help," he puffed as he steamed back to the engine sheds. But Percy and James wouldn't listen to Thomas. "You're just trying to scare us again," they cried. Thomas didn't sleep well at all that night. The next night it was James who was sent out to make deliveries. As he went past the docks, he caught sight of a gigantic mouth full of sharp teeth. "Help, help," he puffed as he wheeshed away from the monster as fast as he could. Percy had heard Thomas and James's tales of monsters, but he didn't believe them. "They're just trying to scare me," he said to himself bravely as he set out the next evening to deliver the night mail. But as he got closer to the docks, a huge shadow fell across the tracks. What Percy saw took all his puff away, but he didn't steam away. Instead, he looked again. The gigantic creature wasn't moving at all. It wasn't breathing. It wasn't real. Percy let out a relieved puff of steam and went on his way. He had never felt so big and so brave before. The next morning, the Fat Controller went to speak to the engines. "I've heard that some of you have had a scare," he smiled. Thomas and James blushed from buffer to buffer. "The creatures you've seen in the night aren't anything to be scared of," he explained. "They're models for the new Dinosaur Park." The engines were excited to hear about the park. "Thomas, Percy, and James, I'd like you to deliver the dinosaurs," announced the Fat Controller. "If you're not too scared, that is." The engines worked hard all day. First the horned Triceratops, then the fierce Tyrannosaurus, and finally the long-tailed Diplodocus were delivered to their new home in the Dinosaur Park. The next day, the Dinosaur Park was open to the public. Thomas was put in charge of taking the very first visitors to see the dinosaurs. The children squealed and shouted with terrified delight. "There's nothing to be scared of," Thomas reassured them. Percy overheard Thomas and chuckled to himself. In the last page of the book, you will just find a reminder of the island of Sodor. That brings us to the end of this story. Thank you so much again for joining me. I've been Laura Train Mama. If you like the story today and you want to hear more in the future, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me to understand that you like the content. Also, if you like this edition, why not check out my magazine review for March 2025. In that magazine, there is a free gift on the front cover, and it covers Thomas with a trailer for Sodor Dinosaur Park. It might be of interest to you. And other than that, please make sure you have a great day. Bye now.